to a major topic for discussion tonight, and it's being a major shakeup in the country's security circle as the service chiefs have all tendered their resignation to the president, who immediately ordered the appointment of new officers as replacements. This is the first time President Muhammadu Buhari is changing the guard since becoming the commander-in-chief in 2015. The new service chiefs are Major General Leo Irabo, who is the new Chief of Defense Staff. Major General Ibrahim Atahiru takes over as the Chief of Army Staff. Rear Admiral A.Z. Gambo is the new Chief of Naval Staff, while Air Vice Marshal Oladayo Amao is appointed Chief of Air Staff. Before his appointment, the new Chief of Defense Staff was the commander of the Nigerian Army Training and Doctrine Command, and who was the former commander of the Multinational Joint Task Force. The outgoing service chiefs are General Bayomi Gabriel Olonishakin, the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Borotai, Chief of Army Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Bas, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, Chief of Air Staff. There has been pressure from Nigerians for a change of the service chief following the rise in cases of insecurity in different parts of the country. I'm hoping to be able to show you those who are going and those who are taking over from them. There is a table that we have for you to give you a perspective of those 4 men who are gone now and those who will be replacing them. But there are perspectives to the issues relating to the hiring and firing of the service chiefs and how they have performed in their duties and the security situation in the country. We hope to get a thinking of the president tonight on the program and what led to his decision owing to some of the calls made by some Nigerians, including lawmakers. I'm being joined tonight on the program by presidential spokesperson, Mr. Femi Adeshina, who is the special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity. And with him there in our Abuja studio is a Major General Moses Obi, a former chief of training and operations in the Nigerian Army and a UN security consultant. He's a retired Nigerian military officer. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight on the program. It's a major security conversation about our country and how we can keep the country together. Let's begin the conversation with Mr. Femi Adeshina, shall we? Many Nigerians, Mr. Adeshina, have called for the sack of the service chiefs, given reasons on performance and state of security in the country. What would you say occasioned this change? If you can tell us the mind of the president when he told you to put out a statement today. Could it be that the president is just realizing some of the issues raised by some of these Nigerians, especially lawmakers in the APC?
Good evening and thanks. Well, there is something called fullness of time in whatever endeavor we are involved in. I think the fullness of time just came for a change in the leadership of the military. The president has sworn to do whatever is good for Nigeria at all times. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's the one who can assess the service chiefs with parameters that you and I may not know, may not have access to. And I believe that he just felt that this was the proper time to do it. Yes, Nigerians have clamored for this to happen long ago, but the president knew the time to do it, and I believe that the time has come, and that is why it has been done.
Could it be that most of the Nigerians that have clamored, including retired military officers who are senior to the service chiefs, including senior members of the APC and lawmakers who are saying things are not working exactly the way they wanted? We have sound bites of some of them who have said that in the past. Could it be they were right after all, and perhaps the president could have acted differently long time coming?
I don't think it's a matter of right or wrong. It's just a matter of doing what is best for the country at the best time. It will not be right to begin to say one side was right, one side was wrong, because the president in the statement we issued also commended the outgoing service chiefs for their contribution to engendering a safer country. That shows that, by and large, he was satisfied with their performances, and he just felt it was time to rejig the system. Have fresh energy, have fresh blood, have fresh ideas. But it should be on record that he commended them for their services to the country.
I asked you earlier on what was on the mind of the president when he told you earlier today to put out this statement. What did he tell you about the situation of things? Because when you told us now that the president is satisfied with what they are doing, it's not about the satisfaction about what they have done, it's about the reality of things in Maiduguri and on the streets of Nigerians in some part of the north central region of the country where banditry is rife. Is it a matter of what they have done or what is the result? What did the president tell you, Mr. Adeshina?
No. Recall, in your preamble, you said it was the first time the president was changing service chiefs. That is not quite right, because the president inherited some service chiefs in May 2015. He kept them till about August. He didn't change the service chiefs he inherited till about August of 2015. New ones were appointed. And so these ones that are living today have been there for about 5 years and 5 months. It's a matter of doing what he feels is right at a given time. You know, a number of times the president has said the service chiefs could do better. Some other times he has said, yes, they were doing their level best, but they could do better. Recall that there was a time particularly he commended the Air Force for their role in the anti-insurgency war. So the fact that they had to leave today does not mean that they had failed. No, I wouldn't think so. It's just that it's time to have fresh energy, fresh blood, and fresh ideas in the theater of battles where the military is involved in the country.
Give us an idea of what prompted President's choice of these new service chiefs.
Well, the president has spoken before on how he chooses people, particularly the last service chiefs. He said he did not know any one of them, that it was only the then Major General Buratai he met when he visited Chad, where he was commanding the multinational joint task force. What he did was he called for their service files and he went through it and he picked those he felt were best. That was what he told the country in 2015. And I believe that in arriving at these new service chiefs, he must have followed the same procedure and he must have listened to ideas and recommendations from those who know.
So, I mean, if you look at the profile of some of the men that are being appointed by the president, for some of them, if you followed through at least in the last 5 or 6 years, some of them have served in the theater of war in the northeast region. I mean, like General Irabo, for example. And you look at some of the other generals that are in that have been appointed. Are you really saying that they are the most, they have the impeccable personalities? Or what would you say the president told you? Because you've not told us that, what the president told you about disappointments.
No, you and I will not know. You and I will not be able to assess them because we are civilians. To use the word of the military, we are bloody civilians. We will not know. So we are not in a position to assess these new service chiefs and why they were appointed. But like I told you, the style of the president is to call for service records. He will scrutinize many, and then he can make up his mind on who he thinks is best suited. And don't forget that there are other people like the Minister of Defense and maybe some other retired generals he will consult, and those who know. And he has come up with choices that he thinks are best for Nigeria at this time.
All right, Mr. Adeshina, because before we go on a break, I understand that you need to leave at some point because of your appointment somewhere else, so that we can get the views of the general seated beside you. So before we go on our break, let me get your view on this and perhaps the thinking of the president. I'm sure you must have heard those who have raised concerns on the alleged nepotism in appointments under this government in the last 5 years. For those who have raised issues of federal character and the spread, does the president consider satisfying a section of the country in these appointments?
There are certain appointments that are subject to federal character. For instance, the Constitution says that there must be a minister from each state of the country. But there are certain appointments that are also now subject to federal character. And one is in the security. In the security, they are not subject to federal character. It's about competence. It's about ability to deliver. So the president will appoint whoever he thinks is fit and proper and will deliver to the best level for the country and for Nigerians. So appointments that are subject to federal character, yes, will be done according to federal character. But the ones that are subject to the prerogative of the president, he will do it according to his prerogative.
Mr. Femi Adeshina, spokesperson of President Muhammadu Buhari, let me allow you to go right now. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight and giving us some insight into the decision of President Buhari tonight.
Thank you.